it's much easier to follow the narrative of how we went from, the birth of the consumer age to this ridiculous period where, we're making bazillions of things and they're all rubbish. Starting right back at the beginning.
We know from the DNA of human-dwelling fleas that we've been wearing clothes since the latter part of the Paleolithic period. So this book begins kind of there.
Yeah.
Why did you want to start there?
Well, because I think it's really, really instructive. I think because we can learn bits from different periods that point to a direction that we ought to try and move forward to. Don't move back to it, but move forward to it. And I think it's really, really fascinating because every time I want, I was sort of like, how do I explain how we get to Shein? Well, then we've got to explain how we got to ASOS. Well, then we've got to explain how we got to kind of Zara and Primark. And then we have to explain how we get to the idea of ready-to-wear fashion and, Saint Laurent, Rive Gauche. How did we go from being a non-consumer society to a consumer society? How do we get to being, an industrialized? I mean, you work your way all the way back through, and it's like, well, It isn't enough just to start here. It's much easier to follow the narrative of how we went from, the birth of the consumer age to this ridiculous period where, we're making bazillions of things and they're all rubbish. Starting right back at the beginning.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to point to man's natural inclinations, and our natural inclinations are to try to make things incredibly well. Because in the beginning, literally, our lives depended on it.
Yeah.
If we made terrible clothes, we'd freeze to death. So there was an inherent human propensity to make things really, really well. For a very, very long time, we naturally tried to make things better and better and better and better. And all of our advances over the course of about 35,000 years were make things better and better and better and better. And, there was also a natural human desire to keep things and fix things because things were valuable. We valued objects. We valued the people that made those objects. And all of that is natural and human. And it is only at the start of the era of fashion that we switch that narrative. And even then, we're still making good things. And then there's a point when big capital gets involved. And they're like, stop making things well, make things cheaper.
Yeah.